Here's your news for October 8th, 2019. We're kicking off with Monday Night Raw today as the Red Brand had a tall order after the controversial end to Hell in a Cell that had many fans ticked off. Unfortunately, this week's show started off not with Universal Champion Seth Rollins or The Fiend, but instead with a recap of the Rusev, Lana, and Bobby Lashley segment from last week. After the recap, Randy Orton and Baron Corbin attacked the Bulgarian, and though Rusev fought them off, that's when Lashley's face appeared on the Titantron. Wearing Rusev's robe, it seemed the Almighty was in Rusev's house and even climbed into bed with Lana. Sharing the bed with Lashley, Lana said how everything of Rusev's now belongs to her, and that the former US champion shouldn't have been sending money back home to Bulgaria. Taking off her bra, Lana climbed under the covers with Lashley, and though Rusev didn't find this funny, two people who did were Orton and Corbin. Furious, the Bulgarian brute would attack both men, launching the King into the steps and giving the Viper a fall-away slam into the barricade, much to the delight of the crowd. Fans will remember that last week's Raw ended with Lana and Lashley making out for an uncomfortable amount of time, and though many assumed WWE would address the Hell in a Cell main event, that wasn't the case. In fact, the company went almost the entire show without acknowledging the match, with neither Rollins nor Wyatt being on the show. Rollins' fiancée Becky Lynch was there but wasn't asked about Seth, and the company only gave a quick video package near the end of the broadcast, a sign that the company knows they seriously messed up. While neither Rollins nor The Fiend appeared on Raw, one man who did was boxing star Tyson Fury, who the fans first saw on WWE TV on last week's SmackDown premiere on Fox. After Braun Strowman threw Dolph Ziggler into the barricade where Fury was, the irate Englishman would be forced from the arena after jumping the barricade, but was allowed to speak his mind last night. Meeting in the ring, Strowman referenced Fury's fight against WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder last December, where Fury got dropped twice, calling the second 10 count slow. Fury wasn't going to take this lying down though, as the former WBA, WBO, and IBF heavyweight champ asked Strowman how many world titles he's won, which is 0. Eventually, the Gypsy King would push Strowman into the ropes, and Braun retaliated with driving Fury to the corner, as security got in the ring to separate the two. When that didn't work, several wrestlers were able to calm things down, though after a backstage interview, Strowman would return to the ring as the show went off the air. It was certainly interesting to see Fury and Braun go at it, though the brawl between the two did seem a bit soft, presumably because the boxing world doesn't want to see Fury get injured, and WWE may have asked the lineal heavyweight champion to pull his punches for his fight with the monster among men. It's been a busy month for Fury, who is coming off a unanimous decision win over Otto Wallen last month, and is looking for a potential rematch against Wilder next year, though Wilder is currently scheduled to defend his WBC title against Luis Ortiz in November. While a match against the monster among men seems likely, Fury may have to get in line, as he isn't the only person who wants a piece of Braun Strowman. Speaking to Instinct Culture recently, WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg was asked about his dream opponents on the current roster, and mentioned Braun as well as Roman Reigns, saying, "You know, Roman and Braun are two guys I'd like to test their mettle a little bit. Georgia versus Georgia Tech. It's kind of a built-in rivalry, but I'm good. Whoever they throw in front of me, I'll decimate." A match pitting Goldberg against Braun, or even Goldberg versus Roman, would definitely be a big money fight, and it could be something WWE could be considering, possibly for one of their Saudi Arabia shows in the coming years. Speaking of WWE's Saudi deal, Cain Velasquez is slated to work this month's Crown Jewel against new WWE champion Brock Lesnar. Velasquez, who defeated Lesnar for the UFC heavyweight title at UFC 121 in 2010, made his WWE debut on the premiere episode of SmackDown on Fox, though hasn't signed a deal with the company just yet. Speaking to ESPN, Velasquez was asked about other stars who have competed in both wrestling and MMA, and Cain responded with mentioning several stars he's talked to. CM Punk I talked to, Ronda I haven't, I've talked to Travis Brown a little bit. Like in the beginning when I was first getting started, when I was thinking about getting into it, talking to him, he was just really happy about what Ronda was doing. Velasquez also name-dropped Daniel Cormier, who is also a big fan of WWE and got into an altercation with Brock Lesnar last year at UFC 226. When asked about his talks with Punk, Velasquez said he was told to be a team player by the former WWE World Champion. Having Velasquez sign with WWE would be a huge scoop for the company, especially with the growing presence of AEW, but according to Brad Shepard, Vince McMahon already has an issue with the UFC star. Writing on the Oh You Didn't Know Patreon, Shepard claimed that McMahon wants Velasquez to tighten up and perceives the UFC star the same way that Jericho does, describing Cain as skinny fat. Shepard wrote, "The feeling is that he doesn't look like a former UFC heavyweight champion right now, whereas, for example, Brock Lesnar does." Shepard also stated that Velasquez was ready to work on his physique, but doesn't have much time to get ripped as he's slated to face Lesnar on Halloween night at Crown Jewel. Whatever happens, it seems Velasquez is here to stay in WWE, but time will tell whether we see a trimmer fighter next time he's on screen. Velasquez made his debut on SmackDown's premiere on Fox, and though the show promised a lot of legends, The Rock was the only one who really got a chance to perform. On his Patreon, Shepard reported that it was, quote, "a complete zoo backstage during SmackDown, and all the extra activity meant that there was no time for Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Undertaker to appear, despite both legends being advertised." According to Shepard, the pair handled things professionally, but might not have been 100% cool with it, saying, "Austin and Undertaker were slightly ticked off at being promoted and brought in for the show, only to not be used." Speaking of SmackDown, the final numbers are in for the Fox debut, and unsurprisingly, it was a massive success. Averaging 3.88 million viewers during the show, this is one of the highest numbers the Blue brand has done in years, but was to be expected given the amount of advertising that had been done on NFL broadcasts, as well as the case of legends who were announced for the show. Even the Blue Carpet Special Kickoff, which aired at 7:30 p.m. in most markets, drew 2.33 million. While the show was a runaway success for WWE, there was one segment that stood out. As Shepard reported, the opening segment featuring The Rock and Becky Lynch was the most watched segment of the show, with over 4 million viewers turning in during the first 15 minutes. The premiere SmackDown on Fox may have done well, but the question now is how will WWE be able to keep this success going as, after a year of falling viewing figures both for TV and live events, the company definitely needs SmackDown to be a success. Over to Raw now, and this week's show saw the Viking Raiders defeat the Raw Tag Team Champions Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler in non-title action. Next week, however, the pair will have a shot to win the gold on Raw's Draft Special, and, if successful, this will be the first championships the pair will have won since moving up from NXT in April earlier this year. This week's show also saw a huge collision between Natalya and Lacey Evans, who met in a last woman standing match, and though the sassy Southern Belle put up a valiant fight, it was a powerbomb off the stage that gave the veteran Canadian the win. Aleister Black also appeared on last night's show and definitely showcased his skills ahead of this Friday's draft, defeating the Singh brothers in a 2-on-1 handicap bout. It was a rough night for the Cruiserweight division as a whole, however, as shortly after the Singhs lost, the Lucha House Party would suffer a similar fate when they came up short against the OC. The high-flying Ricochet fared better when he took on Apollo Crews on the show, as in this pre-draft showcase match, it was the former US champion who got the win and would make a fine addition to either brand in the future. More tag team action was next on the show as Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch teamed with the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair to face the new WWE Women's Tag Champions, the Kabuki Warriors, in a match glistening with gold. A match that saw all 4 women go to the limit. Asuka would once again use her green mist to allow her partner to get the pinfall on Lynch, but their celebration didn't last long as they were attacked by the former champions Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. With the Kabuki Warriors continuing to tease a heel turn, it'll be interesting to see where Asuka and Sane go from here, though their opponents may want to invest in some goggles to negate the Empress's burning green mist. As we've discussed, there was plenty happening on this week's Raw, but there were also plenty of absences, as both Bray Wyatt and Sasha Banks were reportedly not cleared to compete, according to John Pollock of Post Wrestling. As of this time, there are no details about what is wrong with them, but it's likely to do with the respective Hell in a Cell matches where both came up short. It's unclear when The Fiend will wrestle again, but that shouldn't stop WWE from making some more episodes of the Firefly Funhouse if they wanted to. Speaking of Wyatt, the former champion took to Twitter after the Hell in a Cell match, showing a gif of a man struggling, though we're not sure whether Wyatt is making fun of his own performance inside the barbaric structure or WWE's booking as a whole. And finally today we're looking at a story that has gone under the radar for a while now, as Randy Orton is reportedly itching for a match against The Rock at WrestleMania 36 in Tampa, Florida. Last week, Orton challenged the Great One to the bout to determine the greatest third-generation star of all time, and even though The Rock replied this week, it doesn't seem to be the answer Orton was looking for. In his tweet, Rock referenced their respective grandfathers and fathers who competed long before them, and The Rock said that his body is still recovering from WrestleMania 20, where Orton in Evolution defeated the Rock and Sock Connection in a handicap match. It definitely feels like The Rock is trying to shut down the idea of a match against the Viper, though that may not be his own choice, as there are plenty of folks in Hollywood who have invested a lot of money in him and don't want to see him get injured. While a match may never happen, a singles bout between the two would be epic, and would definitely be a match worthy of the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania 36.